Alrighty, everybody. Good evening. Welcome here to the 11 o'clock update here on the tropics. Let me go ahead and bring up our chat here so I can see what everybody is saying. But anyways, everybody, hope everyone's doing well. So Melissa is now an absolute beast of a storm. So yesterday on the update that we were doing, it was a tropical storm. And now it is a Category 3 hurricane. And not only is it a Cat 3, but the Hurricane Center expects the system to now become a Category 5 just before the point of landfall out there. Here, let's go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see that a little bit better. Also, it's trying to clear out that eye. Let's see here. Hold on one second, y'all. But yeah, it is definitely trying to clear out that eye, which is a clear indicator that the system is really starting to pick up here. But anyways, so right now, the latest advisory just came out, the 11 o'clock update here. Hurricane Center has this thing sustained at 115 miles an hour. It is a Category 3. Central load is now down to 967 millibars. An absolute beast, and the system's barely even moving. Let's see what's up. Divinely good to see you. See Cat 3 that fast. Yeah, it's already really cranking. Like we were mentioning beforehand for the last couple of days, I mean, the system's gonna pretty much be in an open environment. It's gonna be pretty much like full gas the whole way, like we were talking about. Full throttle, which it's a bit of a problem. There's really not a whole lot that's like preventing the system from, rapidly strengthening. So, storm is moving now westward at a whopping, very speedy 3 miles an hour. So it's barely moving right now. Which, like I mentioned, is a bit of an issue. Here, let me go ahead and bring up our chat here so I can see you guys. I lost my chat for a second. There we go. But yeah, in the forecast track, the Hurricane Center also has the system becoming a Category 5 here down in time. What's up, D? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Saying evening, Andrew. Thanks for the continuous updates. Yeah, no problem. I got you. Here for you guys. So by the time we approach tomorrow morning, system will likely be an upper-level Category 3, sustaining right around 127 mile-an-hour winds, gusting up to 155. It's not until tomorrow evening where we're expecting the system to transition from a Category 3 into a Category 4. And around that time tomorrow evening, it'll be sustained winds of 145 miles an hour, gusting upwards of 175 miles per hour. And then, of course, we work our way into the morning of, the 27th, which I believe that's Monday. In which the system will be sustaining at 155, gusting to a whopping 190 miles an hour. Now, in the forecast track, we are expecting Category 5. This will be here right around the evening of the 27th here, sustaining winds of 160 with gusts up to a whopping 195 miles an hour. And then, of course, it'll be approaching Jamaica here. Let's see, you can outrun that thing. Yeah, I mean, it's only moving 3 miles an hour. I'm pretty sure most people could easily outrun it right now. It's literally just kind of sitting there. It's barely moving. Antonov says, where is that? So this is just south of Jamaica. This is here in the Caribbean. So if you see, here's Jamaica. Over here is Haiti, right here. And then here's eastern Cuba. The system is going to go right over Jamaica, unfortunately. It looks like we're going to have a direct landfall, possibly as a Category 4 or 5, hurricane at the point of Jamaica. So, we've been warning you guys for the last couple days, which, you guys need to start prepping if you haven't already out there in Jamaica. I'm pretty sure the conditions out here, let's look at MEDAR data. I'm pretty sure they're already starting to deteriorate. I can't even English right now. Here, let's just turn on all the MEDAR data. So, Looks like we're okay. So as of 14 minutes ago, we have 14 mile an hour winds out here. So yeah, the winds really haven't kicked up yet, but system is likely going to be near Category 4, or near Category 5 at landfall. It'll likely be a Category 4 as of right now, but who knows? Once again, by the evening of the 27th, that's where we are expecting the system to be a Cat 5 from the Hurricane Center. So, like I said, if you zoom into the storm now, you can already see there's a little bit of a clear slot trying to develop here. That's our eye that's trying to come in the view. So, starting to get some more clearing going on here. Let's actually bring you guys over here to the Hurricane Hunters. Apparently we actually have an ongoing mission, so let's bring that up here. So the latest guidance here suggests that the central low is down to 967. So 967 millibars is what it's at right now. Let's see. We'll bring up our here we go. Oh wow, yeah. Here's some of that flight data you guys can see. So the blue is the surface winds, and you can see these are in knots. So it looks like whenever they flew into the eye wall of the storm here, we had peak surface winds of about 107 knots. What's up, Dutch Wolf? Good to see you. What's up, Travis? Good to see you. So let me do the conversion real quickly. So it's about 107 knots is what the Hurricane Hunters detected here. 107 knots. 2 miles an hour, which that equivalents to 123. Yeah, that's well in Cat 3. So it's quite a beast. It's like I said, it's definitely picked up a lot of strength here. Over the last day, really. I mean, like I said, yesterday's update we were doing last night. I mean, less than 24 hours ago, system was a tropical storm. I mean, now it's a Category 3, so really picking up in that strength. But anyways, so yeah, once again, my folks out there in Jamaica, once again, we need to be ready for the storm. I mean, it is right on your doorstep. It's slowly going to work its way out there. We are expecting landfall in Jamaica at this point in time, so they're going to get hit pretty good. So just make sure, if you know anybody out there, just give them a heads up, let them know, because, we're going to be having some pretty nasty conditions out there. So if you have, if you're in the path here, obviously if you're on the beach, it'd be heavily advised to just, go further inland. If you're in a low-lying spot too, flooding's going to be a massive issue. Matter of fact, let me actually bring that up and show you guys here what we're looking at here. So this was yesterday's update. Here's we'll go ahead and refresh the page here. We'll take a look at the current update here from the WPC, or the Weather Prediction Center. Wow, holy cow. Okay, so they actually upped the totals. Look at this, possibly up to 40 inches of rain in eastern Jamaica. So this is from the Hurricane Center's guidance. This is actually the Weather Prediction Center here. We're in that 30-plus margin in eastern Jamaica. And if you notice, the lower confidence cone has been pushed away from Jamaica, meaning that the confidence is higher. That is really bad. That is really, really bad. So obviously the terrain out here in Jamaica is very mountainous. There's a lot of mountain ranges here in Jamaica. And so all that water is going to be running down the mountains, and it's going to be pulling up in the valleys, which, all that water's got to go somewhere, right? So, but yeah, like I mentioned, eastern Jamaica, we're talking potentially up to 40 inches of rainfall with this storm. Anything in California? Nah. This system's pretty far away from you guys. There's nothing significant really going on like this out there. So you're good. What's up, George? Good to see you. Saying hi. Good job. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you for the support. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, like I said, we do need Jamaica to be bracing for the storm. Make sure you guys are ready for it. Make sure everything's hunkered down. Anything loose, bring it indoors. If you're in the coastlines, like I mentioned, go inland. Get away from the coast. Stay away from the valleys too, because of that flooding threat. I mean, honestly, evacuations would be the best for Jamaica. The system is gonna definitely hit pretty hard overall. So yeah, that we're definitely gonna need to look out for. Now, not only is it gonna be a problem for Jamaica, but it's also going to go and make landfall in eastern Cuba as well. I believe the Hurricane Center, they already have the hurricane watches in effect here. Here, let's bring up the cone real quickly. Yep, so you can see eastern Cuba. We now actually have hurricane watches in effect here. So that's in the pink. So hurricane watches are in effect. So yeah, I mean, eventually this will be upgraded to hurricane warnings. I mean, at this point in time, you know, it's imminent also for eastern Cuba. So, you know, if you're in eastern Cuba, be sure that you're watching the storm here too, and make sure you're, you know, taking preps and just preparing for the system. I mean, even the Bahamas too. You know, the system will cross over into the southern Bahamas. As a hurricane, Hurricane Center actually has that kind of right around in the evening of Wednesday. As it approaches the Bahamas. It'll be sometime in the afternoon and evening of Wednesday. Hitting eastern Cuba will be sometime in the evening on Tuesday. The morning of Tuesday is when, you know, the landfall is going to happen here. So I'll be sure to be live here for you guys for that. You know, we'll be doing our nighttime coverage and stuff like that. But right now the system's moving west at 3 miles an hour. I mean, it's barely moving. It's very stationary pretty much. I mean, it's just barely chugging along. It looks like, according to these estimated tropical storm force winds, which is in the yellow here, it looks like, it definitely looks like there is some of that tropical storm activity probably starting to occur on the eastern side of the island here. So, did I hear there's heavy rain in Arizona? I did not. Nah, honestly, I've been focused mostly on that severe weather going on in the country, plus this hurricane, so... But I've not. What's up, Tim? Good to see you. Evacuations going on currently there. Bus is currently picking up personnel and bringing them to the airfield for evacuation. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, you definitely, this is a storm you don't want to be around for. You know, like we mentioned here, the Hurricane Center has this thing kind of at a Category 4, or actually a Cat 5 just before landfall, but probably going to be somewhere near upper Cat 4 at landfall. I wouldn't even rule out potential for it still being a Category 5 at landfall. You know, just given the environment, there's really not going to be a whole lot that's going to be limiting this system. That's really the big problem, you know, with this storm here. You know, is the fact that there's a whole lot of stuff that's just kind of preventing the system from weakening, essentially. You know, we have tons of warm waters out there. The waters are extremely warm. Talking 30 degrees Celsius waters out here. On top of that, there's plentiful amount of moisture in the atmosphere. A lot of the moisture is actually coming from Central America. A lot of that's getting kind of pulled up into the storm here. And then, of course, a lack of wind shear, or basically just winds in the atmosphere, is pretty, pretty weak, acting against the storm, which is preventing the storm from, you know, losing its structure and stuff. So if there is really strong wind shear, you know, pushing against the storm, it could disrupt the structure of the system, but there's not, which is allowing the system to remain vertically stacked and well organized. You know, this is pretty much like hurricane breeding ground right here. I mean, this is about as best as the conditions can get, unfortunately. That's why we're seeing the system just rapidly intensify. You know, due to the abundance of moisture, the lack of wind shear, and the ambient heat from those sea surface temperatures. It's very, very warm out there. So, like I mentioned, if you guys are just tuning in here, we just got the new update from the Hurricane Center here. It is officially a Category 3 hurricane. Like we mentioned, you know, yesterday when we were doing some coverage on the severe weather down south in the U.S., the Hurricane Center had this thing in a tropical storm. Now we're sustained at 115. The recent Hurricane Hunter flyby kind of indicates that we could have had some winds actually greater than 115. Yeah, I mean, it's really kicking up. The pressure right now is down to 967 millibars, which that is pretty low. That's definitely, you know, rapidly dropping. But, like we mentioned before, the impacts with the system, not only is going to be those, extremely strong winds, likely Cat 4, Cat 5 strength in Jamaica, but also the rainfall. The rainfall is going to be catastrophic, unfortunately. So, once again, this is from the Weather Prediction Center here. This is their latest assessment here. You can see in eastern Jamaica, we actually have a patch here where we could see 30 plus inches of rain. And I actually mentioned here possibility up to 40 inches of rain in eastern Jamaica. In isolated amounts upwards of 30 inches for the far southwestern coast of Haiti, and even on the southern coast of the Dominican Republic, possibly isolated amounts upwards of 20 inches or more. So, yeah, a lot of rain involved. There definitely is a lot. And even in Cuba here, that is starting to go up here. Eastern Cuba, we're talking 12 to 16 inches of rainfall here, too. The Bahamas, the southern, central Bahamas, probably going to be dealing with quite a bit of rain themselves. Right now it's suggesting anywhere from 4 to 6 inches, but, it's going to be picking up some forward speed once that frontal system comes down from the U.S., which is going to allow the system to steer to the northeast, kind of protecting the United States. So for anybody who's wondering, no, this is not going to be a problem for the U.S., but it's going to be a massive, massive issue for Jamaica, and a lot of the Caribbean islands, Jamaica, eastern Cuba, once again, the central southern side of the Bahamas. And, we'll have to see what happens, but eventually the system could work its way out there towards Bermuda, but that's in the very far long track here. You can see the cone is, pointing right there towards it. Extended guidance from the hurricane models and such do suggest it getting possibly pretty close. So we'll have to look out for that. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring up our latest spaghettis. Actually, a lot more better agreement here than it was a couple of days ago. It was very disorganized there for the longest period of time. But, it looks a little bit better. Obviously, there still is a bit of gaps here between the hurricane models. But, models do have this system pretty well known at this point. But, system's going to keep on going to the west. It's going to go right over probably south-central Jamaica, the eye. Then the storm is going to go right over eastern Cuba, probably weaken a little bit before going over the southern Bahamas. But don't be surprised if it's still a pretty strong storm as it approaches the Bahamas. So got to keep an eye out there for that. And then, of course, beyond that point, it continues. There's Bermuda right here, which you can see, kind of in the median line here with the latest hurricane models. But that is the extended range in which, guidance is not guaranteed to be anything near accurate. So right now, this is just an immediate problem for Jamaica, Haiti, eastern Cuba, of course, and like I mentioned, the Bahamas. There's no active watches or anything like that for the Bahamas. We'll probably get that tomorrow. Southern Bahamas, central southern Bahamas will probably get hurricane watches here tomorrow, probably later tomorrow. And like we mentioned, Jamaica is obviously under that hurricane warning. They're expecting hurricane conditions. Eastern Cuba is under hurricane watches. Those will probably be upgraded tomorrow to hurricane warnings. And then, of course, we have those tropical storm warnings in effect out there for the areas up here in eastern, in the southern side of Haiti. So. Let's see here. Sean says, is Melissa now a Cat 3? It is. Yes, it is. Right now it's sustaining 115 mile an hour winds. We are gusting higher right about now. By the time we approach tomorrow morning, we'll likely be near Cat 4. We were actually just looking at the recon data here from the latest Hurricane Hunter mission that they're doing. If you look closely on the data here, that surface winds, whenever they passed into the eye wall, you can see how the winds go up. So here's our wind speed in knots on the right-hand column. You can see that we're right around 105, maybe 107 knots is what they measured out there, and 107 knots is equivalent to 123 miles an hour. So ranging, or rounding, I should say, upwards of 125 miles an hour. So the system is likely an upper level Category 3 right now. It's actually likely stronger than what the Hurricane Center has it as, which is pretty crazy. Actually, I want to bring that back up real quickly. Look at the pressure. You can see that huge dip in the pressure. Actually has the pressure down towards 966, 967 millibars with the latest flyby. And the Hurricane Center, I believe, let's see, what do they have that pressure at here? Let's hop back to the main page here from the Hurricane Center. They're having a lot of traffic right now, so the site is taking a minute to load because there's so many people who's like trying to look at what's going on here. Yeah, so pressure right there is showing 967 millibars. So that's about right. But those winds are probably just a tad bit higher than 115 sustained. Probably more towards like 125, which is pretty crazy. Given the latest, the latest data that the hurricane hunters had here. So we'll definitely be watching that. And, like we mentioned, the system is just going to be rapidly picking up strength here because it's barely moving. I mean, like we mentioned, it's only moving west at a very speedy 3 miles an hour. So, I mean, it's just kind of sitting there. I mean, it's barely moving. You could run faster than the storm is actually moving, which is crazy. But, given the environment that the storm is in here, I mean, there's really not much holding it back. I mean, you got really warm sea surface temperatures. Those waters out there are like 30 degrees Celsius right now, which is very, very warm, for tropical development. We got plentiful amount of moisture. There is a lot of moisture available for the system. Actually, a lot of it's in Central America right now, kind of getting pulled up into the system. So that's not going to be any problem. And then, of course, the wind shear, the winds blowing against the storm is minimal, meaning that the system's not going to be challenged to be, disorganized. So, I mean, it's pretty much in, full throttle environment right now. I mean, it's like I mentioned, it's pretty much like hurricane breeding ground right now. I mean, this is about as best of an environment that you can get for a tropical cyclone. And that's why we've seen just such quick development out of it. And, this was actually forecasted. I mean, we expected this to happen. I mean, this was definitely was expected to happen here. So switching over to the water vapor, you can see we do got quite a bit of moisture out here along Central America, like we were talking about. A bit drier air actually out there by the Gulf. Shouldn't be an issue, really, but a lot of moisture in the system. It's looking pretty good. System's definitely really starting to kick up here. But anyways, what's up, Frankie? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Saying hello from Live Oak. Good to see you, dude. Hope you're doing all right. But anyways, hopping back over here to infrared view. And like I said, I mean, if we look at the latest satellite imagery, you can actually see in the last frame here, it looks like it's trying to clear out an eye, which you can actually see. There's a little dry slot there that's forming. So that's our eye. It's getting ready to develop. Would not be surprised if by the time we approach tomorrow morning, the system looks pretty good. Would not be surprised if that eye becomes pretty symmetrical by tomorrow. Just given the way that things are going and such. So, yeah, definitely is picking up quite a bit. Sean says, is Melissa going to be a Category 5? Yes, it is in the forecast to be a Cat 5. Hurricane Center has it becoming a Category 5 just before landfall in Jamaica. They actually have the system sustaining 161 miles an hour, rounding 160, with wind gusts up to 195 miles an hour, which is just ridiculous. Almost 200 mile an hour winds gusting to right as the system goes over Jamaica. And so it's going to be absolutely catastrophic out there for these people. So just please, if you know anybody out there, make sure they are ready for it because they're going to get hit pretty hard. And, it's not just the winds that's the big problem. Also looking back at the rainfall outlook here from the Weather Prediction Center, the latest assessment here. shows eastern Jamaica. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it just a little bit closer. So if you look at this, you can actually see eastern Jamaica's in that kind of dark purple, right? So if we look over at the table, whoops, don't know what I did there. If you look over at the table, that's actually 30-plus inch margin. Now, they actually mention you could see possibly up to 40 inches of rain in eastern Jamaica. So, like I mentioned, given the terrain here, too, it's pretty mountainous. There's a lot of ridges and valleys, and all of that water that's going to be falling is going to go right down the ridges into the valleys, and all that water's got to go somewhere. So, yeah, definitely not very good. So they, obviously, you guys out there, you need to prepare for, flooding too, because flooding is also going to be one of the big problems, with this system here. Let's see here. Jamaica's an amazing place. People are wonderful. I absolutely agree. Yeah, I mean, if there was a way I could turn on my weather deflectors, I would. But unfortunately, it's not possible. But yeah, Jamaica just, we need to do the best we can right now. Just make sure you're ready for it. We still got a little bit of time, but time's running out. I mean, the system is right at your doorstep. And actually, like we were just talking about here a few minutes ago, if we hop back over to the current estimated wind field, basically where those winds are at right now. Actually, let me here. Let's do a different view here. We'll do this one right here. This is a lot better. It zooms in a bit more so we can actually see this. There we go. Okay, so this is this yellow blob that you see. This is right now where the estimated tropical storm force winds are located. You can actually see some of that estimated tropical storm force winds just starting to kind of scrape by the eastern side of Jamaica. And even not far from, the western side of Haiti here overall. Let's see here. Surfing says 200-mile-an-hour winds. Well, in the forecast, just before landfall, the Hurricane Center has this thing, but yes, becoming a Category 5, sustaining, so constant winds in the eye wall of 161 miles an hour, or, rounded to 160. And then, of course, we do have wind gusts here up to 195. So it's not far from 200-mile-an-hour wind gusts out there. I mean, it has a little bit more room, too. Before it makes landfall, you can see. So there could even be maybe a little bit more strengthening just before we approach land here. So it could be somewhere near 200-mile-an-hour wind gusts out there in Jamaica by the time this thing makes landfall. So, that's why this is a very, very big problem. Very nasty system here. And, like I mentioned, it's not just solely the winds that's the problem. I mean, we're going to have a lot of flooding, too. Storm surges. I mean, I'm sure they're going to be well over 20 feet. Storm surge is going to be a big problem. Rip currents, coastal flooding, of course. And then, of course, you have the big problem with the rainfall totals, like we were mentioning here. Once again, I mean, we'll bring that up here to you guys. You can see Jamaica. I mean, we're literally sitting there in possibly 40 inches or greater of rainfall, which is pretty crazy. Up to 40 inches, actually. Sorry. So that's a significant amount of rain, which is a bit of a problem. And, like we even mentioned here, I mean, even for some of the southwestern coast of Haiti here, you can actually see, we could even see upwards of 30 inches or more. Even the Dominican Republic, on the south side could deal with a good 20 inches or more. So, yeah, definitely a big problem. And the reason why these totals are so high is because the system's moving very slowly. Right now, like we mentioned, it's only moving west at 3 miles an hour. So, once again, you could run as fast as you could run faster than the system is moving right now. I mean, the system is just barely moving. I mean, it's just barely chugging along, which, it's just sitting over this environment here. These waters, like we mentioned, are 30 degrees Celsius, which is about 87 Fahrenheit roughly. Very warm water, so it's pulling a lot of the heat from the water. Not to mention, you can see that it's not really moving like we mentioned, and there's really not much wind shear or winds, blowing against the storm that's causing the structure to weaken or anything like that. So that's not really a problem. I mean, we mentioned here that it's pretty much in the best kind of scenario for rapid intensification as there can be. I mean, it's basically in the best environment it can be in for rapid development. Apparently, we're going to take a minute to hop over to the States real quick. Apparently, we have a tornado warning in effect here in eastern Texas. Here, let's talk about that real quickly. Let's see. We actually have a tornado warning in effect here for East Texas. This is northeast of Beaumont, Texas. This is for Bunker Hill. So if you know anybody out there in Bunker Hill, Texas, we got a tornado warning in effect now. It's a radar indicated threat here. Let's hop over to velocity for a minute. I do want to check on rotation. Okay, so there's that. Don't see any debris. Okay. Anyways, just a bit of a heads up. Eastern Texas, Bunker Hill. This is just to the north of Orange, east of Silsbee. Just want to let you guys know there's a tornado warning in effect. So if you know anybody out there, give them a call, give them a heads up, let them know. Because, we are talking tornadic activity out there. Let's see here. Those waters are boiling in the Caribbean. Oh, yeah, absolutely. They are super, super warm. Actually, let me show you guys that here. Let me go ahead and bring that up now. We'll look back at the Hurricane Hunter data here in 1 second. But, yeah, I mean, looking over here in the Western Atlantic, the Caribbean and stuff, you can see, the system's right in here right now. And those waters are right around 30 degrees Celsius. So that's, once again, roughly 87 Fahrenheit. Very, very warm. It's very, very warm waters, which, it doesn't get a whole lot warmer than that. I mean, that's very, very warm waters out there. Like we said, it's pretty much in the best environment that it can be in overall. So that's why it's a bit concerning. There's really not a whole lot holding it back here. Okay, so we got the Hurricane Hunters. So right now, looks like they are flying on the eastern side of the storm. So this is the center right in here. The Hurricane Hunters are flying to the north. They're likely going to probably do another pass here. They're just going to check out the northeast side of the storm, it looks like. But, the previous data that we've had from the last core punch indicates some pretty concerning data. As you can see here, this is once they work their way into the eye wall there. That's about equivalent to 107 knots, maybe a little more. And that would put us right there to a whopping 125 mile an hour sustained winds. Could have been a gust. The other side of the eye wall was a little bit weaker, probably more towards like 90, 92, 93 knots, which would kind of put us closer to what the Hurricane Center has it as. They could have just ran into maybe a higher gust or something there, but but they did record, it looks like, about 125 mile an hour winds out there, which is just crazy. Then, of course, they core punched it. Pressure they measured down here, surface pressure is about 967 millibars, which that's what they got there on the Hurricane Center's page here. So, yeah, definitely we'll keep an eye out there for that. We'll continue monitoring that, but what's up, Raven? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. We got another tornado. Oh, we do? Here, let's take a minute to hop over here, y'all. Apparently, we have another tornado warning in effect. We sure do. All right, let's switch over to Lake Charles radar for 1 moment, then we'll hop back to the tropics here. Okay, we got some rotation east of Besme, east of Buna, Texas. Tornado warning extends into southwest Louisiana for Starks and Fields. Do not see any tornadic debris as of right now. These are radar-indicated threats, meaning that radar's picked up rotation. No confirmation right now, but still, you got to treat every tornado warning equally. Tornado confirmed or not, you still need to be in your safe spot. So you got to treat every warning as if there is a tornado on the ground. But yeah, so make sure you guys are in your safe spots. If you know anybody out there, give them a heads up, okay? All right, let's hop back over to sat view. Here is the infrared view for the people who are just now joining. This is the storm right now. Definitely looking pretty ferocious. Yesterday, less than 24 hours ago, actually, whenever was, less than 24 hours ago, whenever we were doing the, the update on the severe weather and stuff like that, there was the system, the system was showing tropical storm force. I believe it's 65 miles an hour the last time we did an update. It's now a Category 3. It is now a major hurricane here, sustaining 115, possibly a little more. The hurricane hunters, they actually found a little bit of winds more towards 125. And the, like I said, the pressure is down to 967 millibars and absolutely tanking. But if we zoom in towards the core, if we zoom in right here towards the center of the storm, you can see there's a little bit of a dry slot here forming. That's actually our eye. Our eye is starting to develop here. So, yeah, definitely that's a good, clear sign that the system is, clearing out that eye and, getting its act together, really getting everything going there. But in the forecast track, so moving on to the future now. So by the time we approach tomorrow morning, storm is likely going to be near Cat 4. Honestly, if not Cat 4, by early tomorrow morning. Or I should say kind of mid-morning, essentially. But it does show here for 8 a.m. tomorrow, the system sustaining right around 127 miles an hour, which is shy, like I said, upper level Category 3, lower Cat 4. Cat 4 starts at 130 sustained. But around that time, we'll be gusting upwards of 155 miles an hour. Then we continue to work our way down in time here for the evening tomorrow. Hurricane Center has the system sustaining 145 miles an hour, officially a Category 4, and gusting upwards of 175 miles per hour. Then, of course, we work our way into the morning here of Monday. Here for the 27th, 8 a.m., we're going to be sustaining 155, just shy of a Category 5 by 2 miles an hour, gusting 190 miles an hour. And then, of course, system kind of pulls to the north here with that frontal interaction. There's a cold front coming off the U.S. southeast coast, which will kind of steer the system to the northeast. But by the time we approach the evening here of the 27th, we'll likely be sustaining right around 160 miles an hour, which officially makes it a Category 5. And our maximum wind gusts here will be right around almost 200 miles an hour. 196 is what they have there, or rounding to 195. And then, of course, it'll be making landfall here kind of overnight. Unfortunately, it seems like we're going to have a nighttime landfall, too, which, is even more of a concern because, you're not going to be able to see anything really going on. So, that's even more of a concern, it being nighttime. But, for the morning of the 28th here, it's going to be kind of rolling in and making landfall. Probably is either a upper-level Category 4 or maybe even a lower-end Cat 5. So we'll have to see what happens there. I mean, it very well could be a Cat 5 at landfall. Which, wouldn't be very good. I mean, regardless, either way, it's still going to be very, very impactful. So the winds out there, honestly, these areas here could be seeing some gusts up to 195 to 200 miles an hour along the southern coast of Jamaica. Sustained winds obviously a little bit lower. Those gusts are going to be pretty heavy. But, that's not the only problem. I mean, there's a lot of problems with this. One of the big problems here is actually the rainfall. And you can see here from the Weather Prediction Center, the WPC's outlook here, we actually have eastern Jamaica in this range here where we could see 40 inches, up to 40 inches of rain, which is a ridiculous amount of rainfall. So not only are we going to see potential gusts of 195 to 200 miles an hour, but we'll also be seeing some rainfall amounts in eastern Jamaica, possibly up to 40 inches. So please just make sure you guys are prepping for this. If you know anybody out here, please give them the information. Send them the stream if you could, just to help spread the word. I mean, it's very, very important that we keep you guys weather aware, and you guys know we'll keep you updated with everything. So. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I'm not going to hold you to it, but it could be very, very helpful, and we'll continue to give you guys updates on this situation here. So, also looking over in the southwest coast of Haiti, the WPC also has an isolated margin of 30 inches, or even possibly greater, here for southwestern Haiti. Even the Dominican Republic here as well could be seeing isolated amounts of 20 inches or greater as well. So, there's a lot of impacts that's going to be felt throughout the Caribbean, not just Jamaica. Once the system does, make landfall over Jamaica, it will be also eventually making landfall in eastern Cuba here as well. And then, of course, it'll continue into the Bahamas as well. So, heavy impacts for Jamaica, Cuba, the Bahamas, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and, in the extended range, like we mentioned, we'll definitely keep an eye out there for Bermuda, but they're a little bit far out, it's a little far out to tell what it'll do that far in time. But, you can see Bermuda out here. I mean, we're already kind of in the middle of these models. Still long range, a little early to tell for sure, but wouldn't hurt for you guys to watch it out there. So, anyways, but yeah, hopping back, like we mentioned here, guys, system will likely probably have a pretty nice eye to it by the time we approach tomorrow morning. I mean, it's already trying to clear out that eye there. You can see that little dry slot here in the last few scans, or last few satellite images that came through here. Definitely convecting pretty heavily. Let's see here. Jackie says, what is the current status of the hurricane now? Is it still in Category 2? So it's actually a Category 3 right now. Yep, so it is Cat 3 right now. We are currently sustained at 115 mile an hour winds, but the hurricane hunters, they actually measured more towards 125. Once they actually went on the western side of the system here, we're actually more towards 125 or so, but Hurricane Center has it at 115 sustained right now. Central low is down to 967 millibars, which is absolutely tanking quite a bit here. Let's see here. Eyewall regeneration. Yeah, I mean it's trying to clear it out for sure. And it wouldn't probably be too much longer before we have a nice little eye fully developed out there. Absolutely. But anyway, so also the movement here is moving at a very, very speedy 3 miles an hour. So it's barely moving. It's like I mentioned, you could probably run faster. I mean, you could run faster than this thing is even moving. It's moving west right now at 3 miles an hour. I mean, it's barely moving. But with that system just kind of sitting there, it's just sitting over the warm waters. Once again, these waters out here are about 30 degrees Celsius, which is 87 Fahrenheit roughly. So very, very warm waters. It's just kind of sitting in. And, on top of that, there's, little to no wind shear that's affecting the storm, which is, preventing the system from, getting a hold of itself and, strengthening. There is no wind shear that's acting against the storm here, really. At least no horizontal wind shear. So, yeah, that's another thing, and another reason why the system's just, rapidly strengthening here. It's just, we mentioned before, I mean, the environment doesn't get much better than this for tropical cyclones. A shearless environment, plentiful amount of moisture, and tons of heat from the water to, absorb, for the system to absorb. Very, very prime conditions for the system here. Anyways, so like I mentioned, everybody, if you know anybody out there in Jamaica, just give them a heads up. Make sure that they're preparing for the system. Here, we'll go ahead and get rid of those spaghetti models here. We are expecting landfall. Here, we'll go ahead and bring up the timing chart for you guys so you can look at the timing roughly of when we can expect the landfall. So it seems like in the morning of Tuesday morning, that's kind of when the models majority are kind of indicating the system be making that landfall. So it'll probably be sometime in the morning of Tuesday, which we'll be here to cover that, of course, with you guys. So it'll be making that landfall in the morning of Tuesday. The effects are already actually starting to be felt. That estimated tropical storm force wind field here in the yellow is already here in eastern Jamaica, also a little bit of southwestern Haiti too. But yeah, so landfall will be sometime in the morning of Tuesday. Then, of course, the system's going to continue northeast here, in which it'll be going into eastern Cuba, which we do have those hurricane watches in effect out there already in the pink. So the system will be making landfall in eastern Cuba as well. System will still likely be above, Category 3 or in major hurricane status, which is the M. It'll go through Cuba, still be a hurricane as it goes through the Bahamas even. So, we're seeing just, place after place being impacted by the storm. First up on the list is Jamaica, then eastern Cuba, then the Bahamas. So, yeah, definitely is going to be pretty impactful, which, my folks out there, eastern Cuba, while it is a watch right now, we do need to start preparing because the models, they're pretty set in stone. They're pretty solid, and they've been talking about this for a while now. So folks in Cuba need to prepare for this system as well. Then, of course, we have the Bahamas. We honestly need to start prepping it there as well. The central southern Bahamas will be probably the most impacted. The northern Bahamas probably won't have as big of problems as, say, the south side. So got to prepare out there as well if you could. Then, of course, we'll watch about Bermuda. That's too far down in the extended range. There's a lot of things that can change between now and then. But as of now, middle ground does have it going possibly near Bermuda. But we'll see what happens. Nothing's for sure that far out, essentially. So, anyways, but yeah, hopping back. We're going to take y'all back over to Sat View real quickly so I can show you guys what the storm is looking like now. Once again, so, like we mentioned, this time yesterday, the storm was a tropical storm. We were sustaining about 65 miles an hour yesterday. Around this time, possibly even a little bit lower, actually, because we did some coverage. It was like 2 in the morning or something like that. We were live here pretty early. But system was tropical storm. We were sustaining pretty much about 65 miles an hour. But now, less than a day later, we are now a Category 3 hurricane, which the storm is now sustaining 115, likely to be a little more, because the Hurricane Center, the hurricane hunters, they actually flew into one of the side of the eyes there, the eye wall, and they measured that there was about 125 mile an hour wind. So it's probably closer to mid-upper Cat 3 strength right now. And the pressure's down to 967 millibars. So let's see, you can start to see an eye. Absolutely, yeah. So if you zoom into the center, you can see the little clear slot right here. So it's certainly trying to, to get that eye going. Absolutely. So, would not be surprised if by, tomorrow, this time tomorrow especially, system will probably have a nice, beautiful, symmetrical eye. So, yeah, definitely got to look out there for that. PC Gamerware says Jamaica is probably already feeling some of the winds. Yeah, absolutely. Like we mentioned here, the estimated wind fields, or the estimated wind field of tropical storm force conditions is already intersecting eastern Jamaica. So, yeah, there's a good possibility that East Jamaica is probably already starting to see that tropical storm conditions, probably right around 40 mile an hour gusts or whatever, some around there. But that's estimated. Remember, that's not approximate. Feel so bad for Jamaica. Yeah, I do as well. It's terrible. The best thing that we can do is just prep and make sure that people are getting weather aware and that they know what's going on. That's why we're here. I'm here to do the best I can to help out you guys as much as possible. So we're here for you, and like I said, we'll continue giving you guys updates on the system and everything like that. So we'll be here for y'all. I know it's not good, but we'll be here to help you guys as much as we can. All right, so hopping back, once again, this is the official rainfall forecast from the Weather Prediction Center. WPC does have East Jamaica in the realm of possibly up to 40 inches. Yes, you heard me right, 40 inches of rainfall. And, you know, given the terrain, there's going to be a lot of flooding, a lot of that water running down the valleys. So, you know, definitely got to look out for that. You know, flooding is going to be a really big concern for this area as well. You know, not just those winds, but also, you know, surges, and you know, you got the you know, just the rainfall amount. You know, due to the fact that the system is just barely moving. You know, system is moving very, very slow. See, I really hope the system will pull Cat 5. Unfortunately, it is expected to be a Cat 5. Hurricane Center actually already put out in the forecast here, the system is going to become a Category 5 sometime in the evening of the 27th. But, I mean, at the current rate that we're strengthening, it could be sooner. Could be sooner. I mean, you know, like we mentioned, there's not much more of a better environment for the system to strengthen in. I mean, no wind shear, little to no wind shear. You know, tons of oceanic surface heat. You know, the sea surface temperatures, you know, being very, very, you know, warm as they are, and also the amount of moisture that we have. I mean, everything's just, you know, in place, you know, for the system to just rapidly intensify. So, yeah. But we'll keep you guys up to date. Let's see here. Let's see. Nicole says, I'm in Kingston, Jamaica. There is no wind and rain right now. Well, be careful out there. So, yeah, Kingston is going to be definitely hit pretty hard out there. If you can, I mean, I would advise trying to go somewhere else. You know, this is definitely not really a storm you want to ride out in. You know, if you can evacuate, that's what I would heavily recommend. You know, because of the impacts in general. You know, once again, not just winds and stuff, but also flooding is going to be a huge problem too. So yeah, just be careful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We'll be here to help you guys. You know, it's what we're here for. Avery says, I thought it was going to be a Cat 4. So yeah, but it is expected to be Cat 5. Hurricane Center already has it. You know, becoming a Category 5 here for the evening of the 27th. So tomorrow, actually, it just turned the 26th here. So 27th, yeah. I mean, given the rate that it's been, you know, exploding in strength, you know, I would not be surprised. I mean, you know, like I mentioned, this time yesterday, we were only tropical storm force. I mean, we were sustaining about 65 miles an hour. Now we're sustaining 115, likely greater. You know, the hurricane hunters, they just did a flyby not super long ago, a bit ago, and they did see that there was, you know, right around 120 to 125 mile an hour winds. It could have just been a gust or something, but yeah, definitely is really picking up that strength. Let's see here. Kingston's going to get some high winds above tropical storm forces. Oh, no, Kingston's going to be getting well into hurricane force winds, unfortunately. You know, the cone of uncertainty still expands through the entirety of the southern side. I mean, the entire island here is just kind of expanding, you know, into the cone. So the center could end up either on the west side, the east side. I mean, it could even go near Kingston. So, I mean, regardless, you know, it's going to be making landfall at this point, pretty much, you know, guaranteed in southern Jamaica. I mean, there's really, you know, honestly, that's pretty much set in stone at this point. It's just a matter of where, you know, the exact landfall spot is still unknown. You know, just due to the high complexity of the storm and, you know, the uncertainty with everything. So. Let's see here. Avery. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is definitely going to be one to remember. All right, so let's actually hop back over here, y'all. I want to take you guys back over to Hurricane Hunter data here. Let's see if we got any new data coming through. Okay, so they have not flown back into the eye wall yet. Let's see here. But anyways, so as you can see, Mo says it's AI. Bro, you don't know what AI... This man literally said this is AI. Oh my goodness. Anyways, well, the Hurricane Hunters, they actually they found about 107 knots or so, roughly. I mean, you could see once they pierced through the eye wall there. You know, they went through the eye. The winds calmed down quite a bit. Then they went through the eye wall again. But yeah, definitely somewhere probably between 115 to 125 in terms of strength here. So, see, it's not AI. Of course, it's not AI. I don't know. That's just something else, man. Anyways, but yeah, so that's the actually. You know, let's hop back over there real quickly. We're gonna hop back to the pressure here, so you can see the MSLP, the mean sea level pressure. You know, it's right around 967 millibars on the last pass here. Let's see where they're at now. Actually, you know what? Okay, yep, Hurricane Hunters are kind of on the northeastern side of the storm here, so still a little ways away from the center. Let's see here. Due to the fact that 10 miles from Rocky Point. Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye. Everybody thinks it's AIs nowadays. Yeah, I agree, Avery. Mo says, but I can't see the hurricane out my window, so it's AI. Buddy. It's not even making landfall yet. Of course you're not going to see it. Let's see. Norman says, hi from Puerto Rico. Thank you for the information. No problem, dude. I got you. You know, like I said, we're here for you guys. We got y'all. The good news is that you out there in Puerto Rico, you'll be all right. The system is, you know, well far away from you. You guys are over here. System's just going to kind of squeeze off to the west by quite a distance. So I'm glad to say you'll be all right, my friend. But you're very welcome. Glad to help. You think it could be a Cat 5 later today? I mean, at the rate it's growing, I mean, it is going quick. It is going quick. Like we mentioned, you know, yesterday we were sustained at 65, you know, tropical storm force. Now we're at 115, and that was just in the span of less than 24 hours. So, I mean, and we still got a couple of days, too, you know, before the system does go out here to make that landfall. Let me actually bring up that again for you guys. We'll show you guys, you know, the cone and stuff like that. So this is the latest cone here. So this is the timing and stuff like that for you guys. So Jamaica, I mean, obviously we're already starting to likely feel the effects right now. You know, those estimated tropical storm force winds here in the yellow, you know, is already starting to work its way into the eastern side of Jamaica. So, you know, the time of landfall is going to be probably sometime in the morning of Tuesday. So Tuesday morning is when we're likely going to have landfall in Jamaica. And then, of course, system will continue. It'll go over Jamaica. And then, of course, it'll go to eastern Cuba as well, which will probably be making landfall sometime late Tuesday, early Wednesday. Then the system will continue to go over eastern Cuba into the lower Bahamas, which will be probably making that landfall over there by the Bahamas sometime in the afternoon or evening of Wednesday. And like I said, we'll continue to watch it for Bermuda, but, you know, at this point in time, it's just too far to tell for Bermuda. It's a little far out for them, but guidance does suggest that, you know, that activity could work its way out there, but we'll have to see. What's up, Jack? Good to see you, my friend. Lucas says, I'm seeing some bobbles to the south, so initial weakening in the upper level shear has potential to rip it up some. You know, honestly, though, I don't think it would, to be honest with you. I mean, just given the the strength of the storm. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was Beryl from last year. Remember that storm was encountering like 30 knots of wind shear and it didn't even like phase it. It's crazy. But honestly, though, the way that this is going, I don't think the wind shear is going to be doing anything to the storm here. Like I mentioned, it's pretty much just full throttle here on out. All the models do suggest rapid strengthening with the storm, for several reasons. Let's see here. It's possible for Category 5 landfall. Yeah, I mean, it'll be probably anywhere from upper Cat 4 to lower Cat 5 at landfall here in Jamaica. Just before landfall, the Hurricane Center does have it sustaining 160 mile an hour winds and gusting about 195. Yeah, definitely will be pretty significant. And then, like I said, y'all, we can't forget that also one of the biggest concerns on the system is not just the winds, but also the rainfall totals too. Hurricane Center, WPC, the Weather Prediction Center, actually has, Jamaica getting possibly up to 40 inches of rainfall, on the eastern side. And, of course, there for western Haiti, too. Southwest Haiti, we do have, an isolated amount of 30 inches or greater, too. Now, believe it or not, here, let me actually move this over a little bit for you guys. Believe it or not, Southern Dominican Republic here, too, will also be seeing quite a significant amount of rainfall as well. Possibly isolated amounts of 20 inches or greater. And, of course, it's still a little early to be for sure for areas like the Bahamas and stuff. The system's going to be, picking up some speed as it kind of gets caught up in that frontal system. It'll start picking up some speed. So the total should start to drop, the further north the storm goes. But still, I mean, right now, WPC still suggests possibly 4 to 6 inches of rain. Don't be surprised if that increases or changes quite a bit, over the next little bit. Takes a little bit of time for that to be finalized. I mean, we just got out of the low confidence zone, the lower confidence zone in Jamaica. That is now outside of it. So let's see. What's up, George? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. The nature of the storm may just be too open. Yeah. I mean, like I said before, it just. The environment doesn't get a whole lot better than this. I mean, for the system to rapidly develop, with little to no wind shear interaction, like literally like not much horizontal wind shear right now at all. Between, lack of wind shear, really, really warm waters out there, 30 degrees Celsius, about 87-ish Fahrenheit, very warm water. And, of course, the amount of moisture that we have in the atmosphere. There's a plentiful amount of moisture, just fueling into the storm here. So that's really the main three things, for tropical activity. And it's got it all, the lack of wind shear, the moisture, and the heat from the water. Tons and tons of it. What's up? Hello, good to see ya. Hello, P. Let's see, the storm's going to be very deadly. Yeah, it could be. That's why it's very important that that we really need to prep right now, if you guys haven't already. If there's a way for you guys to evacuate, it would be heavily recommended. If not, just at least be sure to be well inland, away from the coasts. And also stay away from the valleys, too. Yeah, stay away from the valleys, stay away from the coastal areas. Definitely, that's if you're going to be riding it out. But if you guys can evacuate, would heavily recommend it. Why do I feel like if the storm starts with the letter M, it's going to be bad? Yeah, I thought the same thing. You got Michael, you got Milton, you got Melissa now, you got. Let's see, what else do you got? I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but there's a lot of them that were pretty nasty at him. It's later season typically. Let's see here. Oh, absolutely. Pia, we'll keep you in. I'll keep you in my prayers, and of course everybody out there as well. See, based on the latest satellite radar scan, NHC may be a chance of Iowa replacement cycle. Wouldn't be shocked to see a new change of 25 plus mile an hour by 10 a.m. Yeah, I mean we're likely going to be seeing the system just continually picking up tons and tons of strength between now and then. I mean, like I said, there's not much brakes. It's pretty much full throttle, no brakes right now. And the fact that also the system, like I said, is just barely moving. That makes it even more of a concern. It's like I said, it's only moving west at 3 miles an hour right now, y'all. You could walk at a fast pace, faster than the storm is moving right now. You could outrun it, literally. I mean, you could just walk really fast and you would outrun the storm. It's barely moving. So it's moving west at 3 miles an hour, so it's just kind of sitting there marinating, basically. That's that's a good way to put it. It's just marinating. It's literally just sitting there absorbing all of the heat and everything. And it's not until that that frontal system comes by that it'll kind of, pick up the system and shoot it to the northeast. Let's see. Maria, Matthew, Michael, Milton, now Melissa. Oh, yeah, that's right. Did I say Matthew? I don't think I did. I said Michael. I remember that one. Anyways, all right, let's hop back here, y'all. We're going to check on the Hurricane Hunters, see what they're up to now. Hopefully we'll be... Oh, they're going for it. All right, so that's good. We'll actually have some new Hurricane Hunter data coming in soon. You can see they're actually turning now. They've turned, and they're now getting ready to punch the core again. So this will give us some more data here. So they'll be passing through the eye here in a little bit. They're actually going from the northeastern side of the storm to the southwestern side. You can see the little airplane icon. So they've kind of flown around. They turned. They're going to go down. They're going to do another pass by. So we'll have some more data coming through as well. Yeah, and like I said, the last pass that they did, you can see right here, the surface winds were upwards of like 107 knots, basically. Right around 107 knots. So that's about 125 miles an hour. Hurricane Center right now has it at 115, but like I said, I would not be surprised if the system was more towards that. So, Lucas says, thanks, y'all, or see y'all. Thanks for the late night coverage. I'll stay in tune. Thanks. Yeah, no problem, dude. You're very welcome. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. But yeah, we'll see what the Hurricane Hunters get whenever they pass by. That'll probably be here in a little bit. They're working their way towards it. It actually looks like that center has been covered up again. Like I said, it's trying. It's definitely trying to get that eye. It's had a little clear slot there for a little bit. Storm is absolutely trying to develop that eye out there, but it's not there yet. But yeah, this time tomorrow, I would be willing to put money on the fact that it'll have a symmetrical eye. I bet you by tomorrow this time it would be. Let's see. Those guys that fly through those storms have superhuman nerves, his term. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, the turbulence is just unbelievable. Yeah, especially, flying through, like, Category 5 systems and stuff. I mean, it's crazy. Believe it or not, though, I mean, it's not as dangerous as you think. I mean, these aircraft are, like, super flexible, and they're very strong enough to, like, be able to, withstand that. By the way, y'all, we're still watching the tornado warning here up in southwest Louisiana. It's actually got a little bit of a hook echo here. You can kind of see. So this includes, all right, tornado warning for southwestern Louisiana, including Perkins and Bowler. I do see a hook echo there. No debris signature, but yeah, make sure you guys are in your safe spot. Southwest Louisiana out there by Perkins and Bowler, north of Sulphur. Just want to mention that real quickly. Yeah, we got, on top of the crazy hurricane we're dealing with right now, we also have a severe weather event going on in the U.S. Tornadoes, hail, winds, all kinds of stuff. So weather is, definitely pretty active right now. Definitely is giving us stuff to track for sure. All right, y'all. So hopping back over here for the people who are just now joining or haven't seen this part yet. So this is the rainfall totals. Once again, this is going to be a massive issue for the system, in general. Not only is the, strong winds and stuff like that going to be a really big problem, but also the flooding aspect of things will be really a big issue as well. So eastern Jamaica, the Weather Prediction Center actually has, eastern Jamaica here in that patch of possibly upwards of 40 inches of rainfall. So 40 inches of rain out there in eastern Jamaica is expected from the Weather Prediction Center, and that's actually now outside of the lower confidence zone, so it's pretty confident that we're going to see that amount. Also, extreme western, that southwestern coast of Haiti, isolated amount upwards of 30 inches or more could be expected out there. The southern Dominican Republic actually could be seeing, a lot of rain out here as well. Isolated amounts upwards of 20 inches or more. So definitely quite a bit. So yeah, a lot of rain, and of course, we'll continue watching this as it goes, towards the Bahamas and stuff too. Because like I said, the system's gonna be, working westward. It's gonna go right over Jamaica. It's going to pull to the northeast here, going over eastern Cuba, and then it'll go through the southern Bahamas as well. So, so those areas are going to have landfalls as well. So it's it's not just Jamaica that we need to look out for. Let's see. Avery says you live in Louisiana. Luckily, the eastern part, though. Yeah. So that one tornado warning we were actually just looking at, that's for that's southwest Louisiana. Yeah, we have that other little line of storms kind of rolling through. This is actually the system, believe it or not, that's going to be kind of knocking Melissa to the north. The system's rolling eastward. Eventually, it'll kind of meet up with Melissa, or just kind of pull to the north, which will drag the storm behind it. So, anyways, but yeah, everybody, just please make sure y'all are staying weather aware and staying prepared. Like I said, we'll continue to give you guys updates on everything. We'll make sure to be live here for you guys a lot over the next couple days. Especially, like I said, tomorrow, whenever I get up, we'll do some more updates for you guys too. Have some more data on it. We'll probably be pumping out at least 2 to 3 lives a day, just to make sure you guys are, make sure that you guys are staying safe. Let's see, feeling very sad for Jamaica right now. Everyone, please be safe. Absolutely, yep. So make sure you, say your prayers to the people out in Jamaica. And like I said, if you're in Jamaica, y'all, please make sure that you are prepping and make sure you're ready for this. Like I said, if you can evacuate, it would be heavily recommended. If not, just make sure you have plenty enough food and water. So, yeah, just make sure that you guys are, ready for the system here. If you have, obviously expect the power to go out too. So if you have a generator, make sure it's ready and good to go. Non-perishable food. You make sure you have water, stuff like that. By the way, I'll also be taking questions if you guys have any questions on the system. So if y'all have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I will be more than happy to help. But on the forecast track, going back over the forecast here from the Hurricane Center. So by the time we, approach the morning of the 26th, so actually later today, later this morning, Hurricane Center has the system sustaining right around 127, closer to 130 miles an hour, so almost Cat 4 by later this morning, sustaining 127, gusting upwards of 155 right around 8 a.m. Eastern here for today. Then of course, as we work our way over here into later this evening, here. The Hurricane Center has the system sustaining 145 miles an hour, gusting upwards of 175. So that'll be here for right around 8 p.m. Today. Then, of course, we work our way over here into the morning of the 27th. We'll be sustaining, so this is 8 a.m. for the 27th. We'll be sustaining 155, gusting upwards of 190. Then, of course, it becomes a Category 5 in the forecast from the Hurricane Center. So for the evening of the 27th, 8 o'clock p.m., we'll be sustaining 160 miles an hour, gusting 195 miles an hour. So definitely... we're going to be gusting pretty heavily. So the system will probably it'll either be an upper level Cat 4 or a lower Cat 5 at landfall, more than likely. At least the way that the forecast has it now. So, but given the history of it and the environment that it's in and stuff like that, we'll have to watch really closely. Anyways, all right, the winds are starting to pick up on their... Yep, winds are starting to pick up. The hurricane hunters are actually getting ready to fly back into the eye here. They are actually not super far, believe it or not. They're definitely starting to get into the heavier part of it now. What's up, Cheryl? Good to see you. What's up, Starboard? Good to see you as well. Yeah, Avery, actually, I hit him. We don't need any of that weirdness in here. And then, like I said, the pressure... Let's see. Actually, the pressure right now is showing pretty consistent. Yeah, once the pressure drops, it drops, dude. Yeah, look at this. So whenever they flew into the center last time, you could see the pressure just, like, really launched, really shot up pretty quickly. But, yeah, once that pressure starts going, man, it goes quick. Yeah, I mean, sure, don't be surprised if the system is a little bit stronger on this next pass. We'll have to see. But hopping back to SAT, looking at the eye here, you can see it's trying to clear it out. It's trying to clear out that eye. It's not perfectly visible yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Let's see. Absolutely. Jackie, absolutely. And, just making sure that you guys are staying up to date with the weather and, remaining weather aware and, preparing makes, those chances a whole lot better. That's why it's very important that, you guys are, taking this seriously and, even, consider sharing this stream just to help spread the word out there. I mean, the more people that we can get informed, the better. And I'm here to hopefully try to make a difference in helping out everybody. So, but yeah, just my Jamaican friends, please be careful out there. And like I said, we'll continue pumping out these updates for y'all. We'll be pushing out a lot of updates every day. We'll even do some coverage on it too. Once it makes landfall and stuff, we'll be doing some coverage and stuff. I do plan on doing separate coverages for like the landfall in Jamaica, landfall in Cuba, landfall in the Bahamas. Anyways, but y'all, please be careful. We'll check on the hurricane hunters again here. No new updates as of now. All right, you know what we're going to do, y'all? We're actually going to hop over to the hurricane models, something we have not done yet. First of all, actually, the intensity guidance. So this is the main hurricane models, y'all. For the strength of the storm, you can actually see got a few models starting to get up there towards Cat 5. I mean, like I said, it is already expected to be Cat 5. Hurricane Center already said so. Which, I mean, yeah, I don't blame, honestly. The environment that it's in, the way that it's been going so far, yeah, I mean, it'll probably be, in the Cat 5 realm. But, the middle ground, you can still see there's quite a bit of a gap here, in terms of its strength. But yeah, most models do have it gradually picking up strength still. Let's see, let's try the individual models here. Let's see. Thanks for everything you do to help others. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, Ma. I appreciate it. Thank you. Can I rotate all the storms away from Houston? What if I could? Alright, let's pull up HWRF here. Curious to see what the HERF has to show us. Alright, so, oh, look at that, actually. HWRF is trended a little bit westward, actually. Has that system kind of making landfall. I mean, it has it skimming right on the southern coast, which would be kind of that would actually be kind of a worst case scenario, because it would cause those nasty winds for a lot more areas. But then it pulls to the east, to the northeast here, and it goes over Cuba right around the 28th or so, pretty much for the afternoon of the 28th, and it goes through the Bahamas. This model actually has it picking up a little bit of strength once it goes through the Bahamas. I mean, the conditions out there will probably be more filled with wind shear. So in the extended range, probably, I don't think it would really pick up, at least as fast as it is now. I don't think it would. Let's try the HMON. Yeah, HMON is a little bit further east than like the HWRF here. HMON has a landfall directly on the south center side of Jamaica. HAFSA kind of agrees, actually. Ooh. But you know what? Yeah, HAFSA kind of wants that system to cause, hurricane winds right, or, that eastern eye wall to go right over Kingston. Remember, that's just one model. Some models are a little bit different, but yeah. You can see out there by like Kingston, HAFSA wants that system to, the eastern eye wall to kind of go right over them. Then it goes through East Cuba into the southern Bahamas. Here, let's try HFSB. Yeah, kind of the same thing. Pretty much the exact same thing. Yeah, it goes through southern Jamaica. That eastern eye wall right over like, that area out there. Right over by Kingston. It's definitely trying to clear out that eye there. But like I said, everybody, if y'all have any questions, do not hesitate to ask here. Like I said, I'll be here for you guys. I want to make sure y'all are staying weather aware and staying weather prepared. Like I said, we're here for you guys. I'm going to do everything I can in my power to make sure you guys are staying up to date and that you guys are staying weather aware. All right, let's check the hurricane hunters now. Oh, yep, they're flying in the eye right now, actually. Honestly, yeah, no big changes yet. Jackie says here in Nassau, Bahamas, we're having light wind and rain, nothing really to talk about comparing to what Jamaica is going through right now. Yeah, well, Jamaica is actually, it's pretty calm right now by Jamaica. It's the calm before the storm. Except for the wind field, the tropical storm force wind field looks like it's starting to impact the southeastern side. Yep, so there's the estimated tropical storm force winds there in the yellow. And also out there kind of by Haiti, too. Yeah, Haiti has those tropical storm warnings as well. Yeah, we can't forget about Haiti, too. You know, Haiti's going to be dealing with tropical storm force conditions. Jamaica, full-on hurricane force. Binksy says, just woke up to the trailer making some noises from the wind here in Mississippi Gulf Coast. Ooh. Yeah, we do have a little bit of storms going on out that way. Let's see. Yeah, tornado warning is gone. Yeah, that's another thing we've been watching too, y'all, is, you know, not just the hurricane, but also severe weather in the country. We have a little bit of tornadic activity been going on, so it's like we can't ever get a break. Tornadoes, hurricanes. It's been really kicking off here lately. Let's see here. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what the Hurricane Hunter data is going to show. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, like I mentioned, though. It's like by tomorrow, by this time tomorrow, I would not be surprised if the system has a pretty good looking eye. So definitely got to keep an eye out there for that. But y'all, please be careful. Actually, we're going to hop back over here real quickly. We're going to take a look back at the rainfall totals. So on top of the really strong winds and stuff like that, like we talked about, we also do have, like we mentioned, up to 40 inches. Yeah, you heard me right. 40 inches of rainfall for eastern Jamaica. So they're going to be dealing with upwards of 40 inches of rain. Even southern, kind of southwest Haiti, we have an isolated amount upwards of 30 inches or greater. And even the southern Dominican Republic isolated upwards of 20 inches. So we'll definitely need to look out for flooding out there as well. You know, that's what you get for a really slow-moving storm, you know. Anyways. All right, everybody. It's actually getting pretty late. I'm probably gonna roll off here for now. But yeah, we'll be back on later on tomorrow. Actually, I might even, we'll see what happens if I'm up for a while. I might actually hop back on here later on tonight. But I'm gonna head off for now, y'all. Thank you guys for joining. Hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your night, and be careful out there. And alrighty, everybody. We'll see y'all on the next one. See you later, everybody.